And now, Legal Perspective with Allie Menegakis.
Most drivers don't realize what is the most important protection that they're missing. Well, here to share more on what it is and why it matters on this week's Legal Perspective is Allie Menegakis, attorney with the Menegakis Law Firm. Glad to have you back. Also want to talk about just everything that we need to know should you get into an auto accident. But I am waiting with bated breath as to what that one piece is missing in most of our policies.
I think the biggest one is underinsured motor vehiclist coverage. It's something that even before I got into personal injury law, I didn't even know much about. Even as an attorney, I don't think that our auto insurance companies really inform us the way they should about this.
I don't remember talking about it, yeah.
What, in my experience, most people don't have and don't know about is underinsured motor vehiclist coverage. So what does that mean? That means, let's say that you're driving and you get hit, someone runs a stop sign, and they hit the side of your car, and you and your family get hurt, and you have to go to the hospital. And they do have insurance, but they have like the minimum limits there, okay?
Yeah, which a lot of people do. They want to save every penny,
A lot of people do, and that's fine to do that. And what that means is, generally for minimum limits, it means $25,000 is covered for each per person, and $50,000 per the entire accident.
Okay.
So if you've got, a family of 4 in your car,
right.
and as we know, one trip to the hospital in this country is thousands of dollars.
Yes, it is.
You can be hitting close to $50,000 really, really quickly.
You can, yeah.
And so what happens if their insurance policy doesn't cover everything? Well, then you owe everything else.
Let's talk about everything else that we need to know if we get into an auto accident. What are the things that we should or should not do if we do get into, whether it's a fender bender or something much more serious?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that you want to document everything, and you want to make sure that the evidence is preserved. And a lot of people, I think, get into fender benders and they're like, oh, I'm not litigious, I don't want to sue, let me just get, their auto insurance information and call it a day. And then a few days later, they get a letter from another attorney saying that they're seeking damages against them. You need to protect yourself, you need to protect your family. And so the first thing I always tell people to do is always call 911 or the non-emergency number and report that you had an accident. Make sure that law enforcement comes to the scene and EMS to treat you and make sure everything's okay. Second thing is don't move your car. Do not move your car. Stay there until law enforcement tells you to move it. Even if people are honking at you, and even if the other driver's like move to the side, you don't want to do that. Why? Because when the cop gets there, they're going to do an accident scene like investigation. And if your vehicle's moved, you might not be at fault, but then after it's moved, the only evidence is your word versus the other driver.
Okay, I see.
So you want to preserve that.
You want to preserve that evidence. And then when should you contact your attorney? And you say call 911, so you get everything put down into a report, it's on record, but then when should you call your attorney or your insurance adjuster?
I always say, just like everything else we talk about as an attorney, the one thing is always call the lawyer first, even before you report the claim. Call the lawyer first, make sure it's so that, because the thing is, when you're talking to these insurance adjusters, everything you're telling them is recorded.
Yeah.
And, you might not be at fault for an accident, and then they'll have this recording of you making one statement and try and change it, so then they're trying to say that you were actually at fault.
Sure.
So you don't want anyone to misinterpret your words, and that's why it's really important to have a lawyer from the beginning.
If you've been, say, rear-ended and you feel like maybe you suffered some whiplash, how soon should you go to the hospital to get checked out?
I tell people to get checked out that day.
Yeah.
Even if they're...
Immediately.
I mean, listen, I'm not a medical professional. My father is, and I have family members that are. And especially with the doctors that we work with in personal injury law, like so many people wait until they just can't take it anymore. And they try and have this stiff upper lip about the pain.
Yeah.
But it's best to go immediately, get checked out, and even if it's just preventative to see if anything's wrong. And if you don't want to go to the hospital, that's fine. You don't want to go to the ER, that's fine. Go to an urgent care, get some x-rays and make sure that you're okay, because most of the time people really feel it a few days later.
All right, so with just a few seconds left, I do want to touch on the point of rideshare, people who do it as a business or as a side hustle. What kind of insurance should they carry?
You definitely, if you're gonna do rideshare, you need to be covered, and your normal auto insurance for your personal policy is not gonna cover it usually. So you either have to notify your personal insurance and let them know so they can add, you know, Uber rideshare insurance to it, or you need to purchase separate insurance through Uber or through, you know, what other rideshare you have. They offer it sometimes.
But you absolutely want to make sure that you're covered. It's a business.
And one thing I want to say, Layla, is like I have clients and I tell family members all the time, if you just want someone to review your auto insurance and let you know if you have a good policy or what to change, you can always call us. Happy to do that for free and let you know what the best policy for your family would be.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Allie. Really happy to have you back with us. And for anybody who wants more information on the Menegakis Law Firm, you can always call 843-9000000. We'll be back after this.
This has been Legal Perspective with Allie Menegakis.